student who drank Gramoxone last Wednesday subsequently died on Saturday at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. 11-year-old Alton Richards, who was a student of the Belmont Secondary School, was rushed to accident and emergency, where he was transferred to the pediatric ward for further treatment. Attempts to contact the family were futile, while persons at the Belmont Government School chose not to comment. We'll have more on this story as it develops. School children across St. Vincent and the Grenadines were sent home following a flood warning, which was in effect up to 12 noon today. According to a weather update from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Meteorological Office, SVG Met, there are numerous scattered showers and scattered thunderstorm activities in association with a low-pressure system over the northeastern Caribbean Sea and the Leeward Islands. Over the past 2 days, commencing on Saturday, 2nd October, numerous landslides and blocked drains have been reported mainly on the windward side of the island, with landslides in Belmont, South Union, Yambu, Curtins, Kittels, Vermont, Owea, Georgetown, Park Hill, and surrounding areas. A total of 101.6 millimeters of rainfall has been reported over the past 2 days. I don't think I've been a great constituency representative, so says the Honorable Glenn Beach in an IKTV talk program aired last Sunday.
If you look at the context of being a representative as somebody that you see every week and constantly, then no, I haven't been a great representative. If you look at the concept of being a good representative as somebody who has represented the constituency and you've seen developments and progress in the constituency, I say yes, but I think the way it's done right now, most people look at a good or great representative as being someone who you see constantly, and that has not been me.
Beach stated that he believes a lot has been achieved by him and under his watch.
Just gone out to tender for the Hospitality and Marine Institute, which will be placed in Diamond, carrying electricity and water to a lot of people in Diamond, the Diamond estate, a brand new health care clinic that's being built in Stubbs, repairs to the Stubbs police station, many roads throughout the constituency. I always describe South Windward as the most progressive constituency in the country, and all you have to do is look at the number of projects. The Raraku project, which is a tourism project, the international airport, while that's not me directly, it has been put there under my watch, under my watch. The Peruvian Vale Argyle Primary School, of which, you know, that primary school, as much as it hasn't had an official opening yet, is the first primary school in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to have a preschool in it.
To hear more from the Honorable Glenn Beach, tune in to IKTV this Tuesday and Thursday after the 8 p.m. news updates for Unrendered. Lack of water in the Pole Yard area is one of the New Democratic Party's major concerns. After visiting, the community representative of West St. George, Vinnet Frederick, mentions that the people are in dire need of water.
The solution is really starts with giving them water. The solution really starts with, you know, making sure that the people have access to running water down there. You know, it's 100 of them, so it's not. This is not a settlement that you could just easily, you know, snap your fingers and say goodbye to. The people are settled there. They need water. In the interim, if you are going to relocate them, whichever government it is, if that is a plan, then that cannot be an immediate plan. That's something that happens over time. In the meantime, the people need water.
Frederick, however, published an article about the situation in the newspaper a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, some persons were highly offended by this.
It's politics. Come on. The Unity Labour Party has no answer for the fact that they've ignored the people in the Pole Yard. So, I mean, you go into the Pole Yard, you talk to one or two who will say something that you want them to say, or, you know, I mean, but that doesn't change the fact that, you know, ask them if they want water. The answer is universally yes. One of the persons who was most critical of me said she didn't even read the article. She said she was told about it. When I explained to her exactly what I did do, you know, she's like, oh, Ms. Frederick, well, but that's what's going on. So, you know, that's the thing. When you have a situation where you take people and sort of bamboozle them lead them down a path. When they actually get the information and understand what your motives are, it's difficult to sway them after that, you know. So that particular lady just felt like, what am I hearing, when, you know, the reality is you were down there doing X, Y, and Z, and this is what the outcome is. And quite frankly, I'm so pleased that the outcome for, and as far as the NDP is concerned, is that providing water for the people of the Polyard is now a priority, because I've, you know, pushed that and put it on the national agenda. The Polyard is not being ignored by the New Democratic Party and will not be ignored. They must get water, and they will get water.
She says that the Unity Labour Party has not tackled the matter directly, but did so through the media.
I won't reassert what their campaign strategy or agenda is with regard to how they choose to frame it, except to say that the people know the truth, and the people are looking for a change in government, and the Polyard is no different. So, you know, the Polyard exemplifies what the national sentiment continues to increasingly be, that we want a change and that a change is necessary to push St. Vincent forward.
In the meantime, Frederick noted that the lack of water in the Polyard community is not the NDP's only concern.
We look at healthcare. Healthcare needs improvement. We are saying that we want a holistic approach to how we improve healthcare, but part of that must have to do with constructing a proper state-of-the-art medical facility. We talk about national health insurance. That's something that's on the books that needed to be rolled out, was never rolled out. So we have to do that. We talk about in education. We say yes, universal access to education will continue. It is an OECS initiative that the Prime Minister chose to call a revolution. But it must continue, and we will focus our attention on making sure that at the primary level the students' foundation is so solid that there wouldn't be this mass dropouts happening as we see happening in secondary school, so that they actually get to the point where they can complete the secondary school course and benefit from being holders of O-levels and A-levels and, you know, CAPE and that sort of thing. And we are saying that we'll pay for every student who has to sit CXCs, because part of the difficulty people have with making ends meet is sometimes people who have matriculated to sit, who, you know, come to this point where they can sit 7 and 8 subjects, their parents could only afford for them to do 3 or 4. So we're saying an NDP government will invest in ensuring that our young people get the opportunity to do their part and sit the subjects that they have studied and prepared for at an O-level and A-level standards.
The Agape Performing Arts Theatre Methodist Dramatists launched 3 major activities on Saturday at the post office in Kingstown. Managing Director of the organization, Kevin Rodriguez, said they launched their upcoming presentation dubbed Bold, which they will perform at the Theatre Arts Festival in November. Rodriguez said Saturday's event was also held to officially mark the change of the organization's name to the Nature Care Agape Performing Arts Theatre, as well as to outline their plans for the adoption of the Trumuka Secondary School. The Nutrition Unit in the Ministry of Health successfully held a workshop on infant and young child feeding counseling in collaboration with the World Health Organization last week. Assistant nutritionist in the Ministry of Health, Joyce Bergen, said the integrated course was aimed at equipping preschool teachers with the necessary information on young child nutrition, specifically breastfeeding and complementary feeding. Bergen said the course, which was aimed at achieving universal standards in childcare, had a total of 16 participants. She highlighted that they expect to continue the program as part of their annual agenda. Director of the Youth Affairs Department in the Ministry of Social Development, Carlos Williams, says community involvement is critical to the success of the annual Youth Month activities. Speaking at the launch of the activities last week, Williams said past programs have suffered in part from the lack of involvement of community-based organizations. He said this has led to more young people congregating on street corners and being idle, which has become a cause for concern for the government. Williams also noted that churches have stepped in to try to fill the void left by the decline in the numbers of community-based organizations. WINFA coordinator Renwick Rose said in the first month of their operations of the Solidarity car parks, They will be seeking to further develop the facilities. This statement comes as SVG Solidarity in Action Incorporated, which comprises the National Labour Congress and the Windward Islands Farmers Association WINFA, took over the operations of the two government-owned car parks last Friday, October 1st. Rose said by the end of this week, they intend to have the car parks fully operational. The Chamber of Industry and Commerce held the lease for the car parks for 12 years. The 15-nation Caribbean community CARICOM, of which St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a member, has condemned the police in Ecuador for destabilizing the country's government. According to a release from CARICOM, the police also carried out a physical attack on the Ecuadorian president, Rafael Correa himself. CARICOM, whose 14 independent member nations also make up just under half of the 34-nation Organization of American States, OAS, commended the Ecuadorian army for responding swiftly to defend the constitutional order of the country. The army rescued President Correa under the cover of darkness from a hospital where he was held up, and the president has vowed that the police attack on the democratic will of the people will not go unpunished. CARICOM has also made the assurance that it stands firmly in support of the democratically elected president of Ecuador and called for the speedy restoration of order and stability throughout the country in accordance with its constitution. Cuban authorities today began a 6-month process of firing 500,000 state workers. Many of the country's workers who fear they could lose their jobs in that process have said that they are very worried about the situation. The head of the Roman Catholic Church on the island, Cardinal Jaime Ortega, says job cuts for many will mean a process of readaptation that will be quite difficult. The government has already unveiled guidelines for free enterprise activities in 178 fields, ranging from accountants to park custodians. The Dutch anti-Islam Member of Parliament Geert Wilders has gone on trial in Amsterdam accused of inciting hatred against Muslims. Mr. Wilders, whose statements have included comparing the Quran with Hitler's Mein Kampf, told the court freedom of expression was on trial. If found guilty, he faces a maximum sentence of a year in jail. Mr. Wilders' Freedom Party is the third biggest in the Netherlands after June elections and is expected to play a key role in the next parliament. Prosecutors have brought 5 charges of inciting hatred and discrimination, and the trial will scrutinize statements he made between 2006 and 2008. Let's take a look now at the weather with Al Archer.
Late today, we're still looking at a lot of unstable weather continuing to develop and scan around St. Vincent, the Grenadines, up and down the islands. This is because of a complex storm system aloft located over the southwestern North Atlantic, just to the north of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, interacting with a stalled disturbance line that's sitting over the Leeward and Windward. But the computer forecast models are suggesting that over the remainder of the week now, at this low pressure area evolving just to the south of Puerto Rico, the dominant low is going to move westward and will likely be easing its way on out just to the north of the Dominican Republic by about Thursday, that moving away from us, pulling the significant rains away from us, while at the same time a new low pressure center developing in the western Caribbean here by about Thursday can ultimately develop into a tropical depression or storm here yet next weekend, and then that's going to slowly evolve possibly into a tropical storm or hurricane of the western Caribbean by the end of next week. That is about 11 days from now. Could be significant for areas from the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and on through the Bahamas. For us, our weather forecast calling for skies here to be cloudy, showery, and stormy. Still a 70% chance of more wet weather tonight, low at 76 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. Tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy with a 50% showers anytime up to 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. And then for Wednesday through Friday, variably cloudy but improving, with Wednesday's rain chances 40%, Thursday's 20%. By Friday, we will likely be totally dry. Here's a check of our marine forecast now through Tuesday night. Winds are out of the southeast, 10 to 15 knot, seas at or slightly less than 2 meters. And checking tides here in Kingstown, starting off tonight with a low at 8:48, a high at 2:49 in the morning, a low at 9:28 tomorrow morning. And I'm meteorologist Alan Archer. A wet start to the week here on IKTV. It's all about you.
Stay with us. Sports is up next.